Here we go. This build is going to be on the Willie Borsch Winged Express Altered Rod by MPC. Wow, great picture on the box top. Got a Hemi in here this time. Let's see, side box art, fantastic. Look at that, isn't that dynamite? And got the same picture on the end as it's on the top. Some other kits, you know, they're talking about there. And find out what this is about. Official licensed product of Ford Motor Company, it says there. Somebody paid 12 bucks for this back in the day. Not what I paid. All right, so yeah, let's oh, before we open the cover on this, let's look and see what our good friend Mr. Tim Boyd has to say about this kit in his book. Okay, remember a few videos ago I talked about this book. It's here we go, drag racing model kits. Boom, Mr. Tim Boyd, and it's over there on page 139, as I recall. Yep, here it is, 139. Let's see what he says about this. He gave it a factor of 4 out of 5. What does he say? One could argue with justification that the most famous of all fuel-altered cars and drivers was Wild Willie Borsch and his Winged Express. Fortunately for us, MPC chose exactly this car for its first fuel-altered kit. And, what? On the next page, it continues. Unlike many of MPC's funny car kits, this one was an exact replica. Yeah, right, exact replica. The kit started out with a highly detailed 392 Hemi, with cast-in pistons, followed by cylinder heads, Hemi rocker assemblies, depicted in 3D relief. All the breather vents and water outlets, hey, that's cool, were included as separate parts. And the tubular frame was a precise replica of the real car. Roll cage mounted airfoil, detailed decal sheets. Hope those survive. This is a pretty old kit. Complete the effort. This kit was reissued with mostly original box art in 1996. Maybe I got that one. That'd be great, huh? Because the decals would be good. By ERTL as part of its Buyer's Choice limited issue runs. And hey, it is. It is in fact going to be that most recent one, the Buyer's Choice. So hey, that's good news for me because it means the decals are 1996. And most likely, and there's a lot of decals on this kit. Look at that, right? A lot of decals all over the place. Some of them are, you know, kind of, you know, big brands, so I have some of those. But the particular ones like Winged Express, etc., those would be pretty tough to replicate. All right, so let's pull the lid on this and see what we got. Okay, dokie. I already cracked the cellophane on this earlier. Not a lot in here. You know, maybe it's a smaller kit. I don't know what we got. We got a couple bags of plastic, some chrome. I'm going to dechrome those like I always do. Whoa, wide slicks. Look at those things. And what we got? We got the decals, which I'm really hoping make it. Oh yeah, great decals. Look at that Winged Express. That's cool. Yeah. Wow. Howard cams, all right. Huh, can't wait to get that on the model. And hey, what, I can, if we could do time travel, I could get back in the Blueprinters, ERTL Blueprinters Kit Builder Club. And we've got thin ones from the front. Rubber, that's cool, rubber. And you know, a steel axle down there, I don't want to lose that. I'll tape that to the top of the box so I don't lose that, or maybe put it in a plastic bag. And you know what, like this. Okay, well, you know, back to my any way to build a model, right? Inside out, top down, front to back, etc. We're gonna start with the tires first on this one. And engine, yeah, I'm gonna go nuts in there. And the chassis, yeah, that looks good. Okay, might have, you know, that could be fun, pretty fun too. And then, what, we get into the rear axle. Okay, and then controls, yeah. Seat, there's an opportunity for some seat belts. Okay, spoiler, that's cool. And yeah, okay, yeah, decal on the body, but, you know, that T-bucket body before it goes on there, and you know, gloss coat it and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, well, pretty cool. Okay, can't wait to get into this. All right, back later, guys. Okay, back. So let's see, where am I? I thought somebody said, hey, Steve Reno, why don't you show us a little bit about, you know, every time you've been cutting in before, it's always been, things are all done. So let's see, so where we are with this right now is we're at that stage where I'm taking the chrome pieces and I'm turning this kind of stuff, this stuff, into like this. Okay, so I'm taking all the chromey stuff, which will end up looking toy-like if you just put it on your model, I think. It'll look toy-like. That's my part of the supercharger. So you take this and get it down to the plastic underneath, which is this. And how I do that is you want to have lots of ventilation. Is I use some of this. Okay, and I do a few pieces at a time. I don't you know, go nuts and try to do everything. Hey, in modeling, I think if you're rushing, you're doing it wrong. Okay, if you're rushing, you're doing it wrong. So I just take a few pieces at a time as I'm going through each section. I have one of these containers here, and what I like about it is, you know, what was in it was good, but it allows me to, you know, put a little of this in here like that, and then drop, you know, one at a time or a few at a time as I'm doing in here. You want to have plenty of ventilation, and you are going to have to change the solution after a while because of the active ingredients. But wear rubber gloves and, you know, take stuff out with, you know, tweezers and rinse it off. And, you know, have an old strainer if you got really tiny pieces because you don't want to drop them down the sink, right? So that's kind of where we are right now, and we're getting ready to take some of these pieces and get them all primed up, ready for paint. And so like here's the basic engine block and stuff, and you know, I've got some of the main elements there, and and you know, the wheels, a couple different kind of wheels on this kit, which is pretty cool. Got the wheels ready to go. We got Halibran wheels up front, and we've got Anson mags on the back, right? So Anson mags on the back and Halibran on the front, which to me, you know, pretty cool, you know, kind of give the kit, you know, like that, I guess, right? The back and the front. Give the kit a different sort of set and look. So that's where we are. We're going to head off to the spray booth, get these primed up, and then continue on with the build. Interestingly enough, this kit, you know, except for a few chrome pieces here and there, almost everything else is black, except for this piece in here, which is red. So I'm thinking in order to make it look a bit more interesting, I'm going to be careful about not spraying it uniformly with the same black all over the place, but in fact changing, maybe adding a little bit here and there to the black, or you know, maybe using semi-gloss versus flat versus gloss here and there to give it a little bit more visual interest, because you don't want everything to be kind of fade to black. You look like a polar, fade to white, like a polar bear in a snowstorm. You want to have a little bit of visual variety, because certainly the real one-to-one would have been painted in different steps. You know, the frame would have been done all at once, and you know, axles and stuff would have been done another time. Okay, so and certainly those pipes, the header pipes. They're black, but they take some pretty extreme heat. So I might do something with those, build them up, with steel, maybe throw a little bit of, different colors on there to make them, red and stuff at the top to make them look like they've sort of been burned a little bit. But we'll see, burnt iron and stuff. We'll see what happens when we get over there. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey, all right, guys, back. Let's see, bring you up to date real quick on a couple pieces of this build. The first thing is getting everything, ready, like I said, for paint prep. I use a lot of these kind of sticks, once I get the pieces ready to paint. And, there's the engine block and stuff, and then the supercharger. Some of the piping, that I'm going to use on the engine, and then here's the supercharger. Hey, and don't, get yourself a pair of nips, and, I cut up these sprue pieces, and, they become pretty good paint stirrers and sticks for putting your pieces on. So, hey, try to use everything, right? So what I noticed over here, and like I said before, most of the model on this one is either chrome or black, except for the T-bucket body and the cowl, the shroud around the radiator. And I thought, well, hey, maybe, and I look, and then suddenly it just jumped out at me. I noticed that on the real 1-to-1, you see how the cowl here with the Ford emblem, it was just fastened right there with two machine bolts on each side. So there really wasn't much left of it. There was just the top and the two sides. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So what I did is I went ahead and carefully, as straight as possible, saw cut that apart. Right, and then this is going to go into the, the frame, right? And then I'm going to paint all this and do what I call those various shades of black when I do that. So as part of the prep, I do this kind of thing. It's just one piece of tape turned upside down and two more pieces of tape, holding that reverse piece of tape, and then stick the parts to that, and then this becomes something that I can hold on to when I'm spray painting, right? Like, all that. So, and I also use that company from Japan makes these really cool tools. So I use some of these, right? These kinds of things. This comes all together as one thing, and this piece and this piece. And, they got these nifty swirl turnstiles. You guys have seen these things, but I use these too. So you got those, little thing that I do, and what I discovered over here. And I finally realized why this thing remember at the intro, I said, I wondered what this was all about. Well, duh. It's because it's got a Ford 429 semi-Hemi, and there's some Ford logos like was up here. All right, bye for now. Thought I would talk a little bit about the kit as it is in process here. You guys remember when I first opened the box on this thing, I said, hey, kind of a small kit, not a lot here. Well, but what is here is a lot of fun. So right now, I'm at this stage right now where I'm building up the, I guess you call it the tube frame structure of the car. And remember in the last episode, I cut the shroud off of the front up here. You want to be a little careful in this section in here. Do lots of measuring. Get it up on your alignment table to make sure everything is perpendicular in here. And I use a lot of these types things to make sure everything is standing properly and square. Because again, no amount of paint will fix anything that doesn't fit right. And I use, some of these magnetic chalks and other stuff, and to keep stuff square. And I tack weld it, like I said, with super glue, and then I slow weld with that stuff applied with my ruling pin. And you said, like I said before, you were ruling what? Yeah, this thing, right, which you can set the width and get in there and apply, with capillary action, the glue. So this is where we are right now, and it's very fiddly, this piece. You have to do a lot of cleanup and sanding, just part of the reality of how plastic is molded. Two-part molds, you get a mold seam, and one piece is a little offset on the other, which means you get a seam on one side and you get a seam on the other side, and you got to sand it all off to make it square. Round, round, to make it round. Don't sand too much; it will be square. But you got to clean off the seam line on one side and then on the other side. So you can see, like, right there, right there. Now, you don't want to take things too far, because imperfection is a reality in modeling. But you probably want the thing to look somewhat realistic, right? And so, finding that happy medium is always the thing in modeling. I mean, I've seen some guys who take things. I mean, this is a model. This is not the real car, right? So, you can get carried away, and let whatever is fun be your guide, is what I say. Let whatever is fun be your guide. Don't get frustrated and feel like you have to take things to a level that's beyond fun, because this is your hobby, and you're building it for your own enjoyment. And my models are always the process of my journey for learning, not done as artwork pieces, meant for what? I don't know. But they're always a vehicle for learning how the real thing goes together. At least that's how I do it. So here we go. And, that's where we are today. All right, bye. Okay, real quick, guys. I've been trying to make it over to the spray booth, but there've been a little bit more work here required than I initially thought. So when you look at this piece here, the tube frame section, like I said, I was just getting ready to head down to the spray booth, and all of a sudden it caught my eye. And not trying to be too much of a perfectionist, but it caught my eye that right here in this section, right in front of the cowl on the T-body here, the firewall, right, and then it drops down right here. I said, wait a minute, that's not the way the model looks. It's actually got this piece of plastic going all the way up here. And then I grabbed the box art and I looked on the side and said, wait a minute, it's just showing this in here, right here underneath the headers, and then kind of a triangular piece coming up here to that cowl. And then I thought, well, let me go look on the internet real quick. And I looked at this again, and I said, no, I'm pretty sure it's not there. And then I went and I looked at some art that's available on the internet. And here's a picture of Wild Willie back in the day in the car. And you can see here very clearly that the firewall of the T-bucket drops down, and the tube from the tube structure portion of the car is coming on up right into that firewall right there. So that means that this piece was not there. It actually was open frame from the firewall forward. So that meant I had to go and start, and I wanted to take this picture now before I finish up both sides. But certainly the better way to do this would have been before it was assembled. But it seems like in my modeling, spent half the time making a mistake and half the time fixing it. So I got this all put together, and I was getting down spray boots. So now I'm using the, no matter how many fancy tools I have, I end up really using two tools. Okay, so using the old, what I call drill and nibble, and you want to have a very sharp X-Acto blade on your number 11. I mean, aren't number 11 X-Acto blades just the bomb? I mean, we can use them for so many different things. So good old number 11 X-Acto blade. What I call the drill and nibble method, as I took out, carefully drilled, from the inside, so that I didn't drill through, and I masked off so I didn't scratch up the part that I want to keep. I scored a little line to what I call a go-to line, right? So when I didn't go over it, and then I used the drill and nibble method to drill first and then nibble through between drill holes with the X-Acto knife, and then take it all out, and then start sanding it and take it down to a profile that's close to matching what will be tube frame on each side. So I'm going to do the other side second, but I wanted to show you what's in the kit and what you have to take it to in order to match what was on the real one-to-one over here, with that tube frame going all the way up into the firewall. And then of course I noticed that everywhere on the body it's all outlined with the pinstriping, so I'm going to have to figure out some way to do that, because I don't think that's included on the decal sheet. Okay, there we go, guys. That's that for this update segment.